And today we're talking more about your brand message and how to use the rule of three. I was at a conference last week and it reminded me of this. And once you know about it, you'll start to be so aware of how often this rule is used to effectively communicate with a target audience. So, what is the rule of three? It's that people that remember things in chunks of three or three pieces of information. Or I think for my psychology days, I remember them talking about total of seven data points, everything. But the point being is that we can use that rule of three to be simple, to communicate to our clients or our ideal clients and prospects in the language that will really allow them to remember it, to differentiate yourself, and that they can communicate it to other people. So there's some different places this can show up, but let me share with you first some examples of what this might look like. So in the description, I said snap, crackle, pop. We probably all know that. We can think about Rice Krispies and that being their tagline, the message that instantly makes you know that's who that came from and what you're going to experience when you're enjoying that. If you like Rice Krispies for breakfast, for cereal, or Rice Krispie treats, which I really like, even though I shouldn't, because I can't resist sometimes. But another example might be to think about things like see, act, win again, win more. It could be things like thinking about your phone number or your social security number. Just think about all the places in lives, or if you look at other people's websites, you watch commercials where you will see this probably come to the surface. So what does this mean for your marketing efforts? So there's three places I'm going to give you today on where you can use this rule of three. The first is your messaging, and in particular on your website, and what your website should do for you. So the three things that your website should do for you is show that you are ordinary. You get your ideal client, that you are connecting to them, that you are extraordinary, that you've had some experiences that maybe they haven't, in ways that you can help them because of those experiences. And three, the problem you solve for your ideal client. So remember, in your website, your three goals are to be ordinary, extraordinary, and communicate the problem you solve. So besides your brand message on your website, what are a couple other places that when we think about your messaging, this can come through too? Another place would be thinking about your tagline. If you use one can you use something like that of see, act, win? There's many different examples of that, but that could be something that you could use to communicate your value proposition. Or the final thing I'll put out there for today is to also think about your approach or your process as a way of thinking about how you work with people, rather than we're going to have an initial discovery meeting and then we're going to present some recommendations and then we'll decide if it's a right fit or not. Perhaps you could use some language that really talks about your approach with three simple terms and what that process is going to look like of how somebody might engage with you and your firm. So there's probably many other ways that we could talk about it as well, but I just want to give you those three today, keeping to the rule of three, keeping it simple. So think about in your messaging, where can you use that rule of three? I know I was just at an annual meeting with some advisors recently, and we heard that on main stage from one of the big names, main stage speakers, Kat Cole. She talked about, actually, I'm just going to pull it back up again because uh, it was ACT. Um, Now I have to see what it is. It was like act, do. I'm going to find it. I've just goofed up here. I should have had that prepared because I did not remember offhand. But here we go. Okay. Ask, answer, act. That's what she said would make you unstoppable, is to ask, answer, act. This is really great for anytime you're doing a presentation as well. So there's your bonus tip for the day for my extra time there, is to also think about where you can use that rule of three when you're doing a presentation, to just have three content points, and anything more than that you can provide later on and everything, but keep it to three. So use those. Let us know what your three would be, or if you've used something like that in any of your messaging. And we'll be back next Tuesday at the same time, noon Central, talking more about winning in your marketing efforts and giving you that playbook for success to do more of what you love and make a bigger impact. We'll see you then.